Oh, sorry. I have a little solar charged little car here that you're a trucker. Also, I have something I can roll around here.
All right.
Anyway, welcome to the show, Al.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
That's not my usual opening. I usually another episode of Deconversion Stories. Woohoo! We're working on working our way up to 1,000 episodes now that we've done. 500. So yeah,
halfway there.
Long way to go. Long way to go. But Al, normally what we do here is we chat with folks about how they found their way free from their religious beliefs. But you really didn't have much religion in your life. I mean, you sort of told me that you had a little bit of influence here and there. Your mom worked for a church, that kind of thing. Also, I kind of want to know if the religious influences that were kind of in your life, especially you said you worked somewhere that was involved in Scientology. So I kind of want to know a little bit about that before we get into other things.
Do you want me to I can start with that because I grew up in a home where my mother took us to church, not quote unquote religiously, which is a terrible way to put it, but we didn't go.
I see what you did there.
We went frequently when I was a young kid, and I was one of those kids that asked questions. You've heard that a gazillion times. I asked too many.
What kind of church was it?
It was the United Church of Canada.
Oh,
and, I think that was I
didn't even know we had one of those.
Yeah, I know. There's one called the United Church. It's very popular in Ontario. It's kind of an amalgamation of some other churches, and I don't even remember which ones it started with. And I think the idea was that it would be kind of bringing a few different versions of Protestant Christianity together. But by the time I got there, I was just sort of born into a family where that was the closest place to go, and my mother's family was already going to similar churches in other parts of Toronto, which is where I'm originally from. I'm sure people can hear it in my accent because it's pretty hard to hide.
You sound normal to me, but then I'm Canadian as well.
Yeah, well,
I don't think
I know you're a West Coast Canadian, but I actually don't know, Neil, if you're originally from the West Coast or
born and raised in Vancouver.
Okay, well then, the main difference I've noticed is that people west of Manitoba end their sentences with "hey" instead of "a."
Actually,
but I don't know if that's universal.
A slips out for me once in a while.
Slips out, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really use "hey." I don't go "hey." If I go, "Hey, we're going to that fucking movie tonight, eh?" And then I was like, "Yeah, we're going."
Okay, so you don't have that H add on that I've noticed amongst many Western Canadians.
Nope.
All right. Well,
if I use the word "hey," then I'll use the word "hey," but
but not as a sentence ender like many Canadians do. And
we don't though. In the West Coast, we don't like. I've heard people from Central Canada in that area, even out a little bit more eastern. You guys, when you say "about," it's more "about." So
that's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah, that's right. See, but
out
here on the coast is more about
that, but I may from time to time.
Y'all sure do talk funny.
Well, that we do. Our parlance is definitely not all that common.
That's why I'm down here. Like, I'm from St. Louis and I live in Chicago. I have nothing to say. I can't say shit. I only got two things that you
got that central like heartland thing going on for the U.S.
Canadians have a lot of interesting slang, that's for sure.
Which ones?
Canadians, we have a lot of interesting slang.
Like a schlorny. Everybody knows a schlorny, right?
What the hell's a schlorny?
All the Canadians are saying it. It's very big.
I feel like Mike is just making this up.
Why would you
run with it?
I think so.
Like as though screwing the pooch isn't like Canadian enough.
I mean, there was a small percentage that it was a thing already, and I took the risk. I jumped.
All right. I mean, you never know.
It could have been a thing, and I would have been like a hero to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, is this going to end up one of those things where we ask Mikey if he knows what a bonspiel is?
See, I don't know. See, now they're playing that whole who can guess the pine cone out of the forest game, and it's probably some Mountie game they all learned in Mountie class.
Mountie class.
Mountie class. Well, in Mountie class, you learn how to do what they call the musical ride, and you end up in with a ring of horses carrying flags
On our $50 bill, on our old $50 bill.
50 Mounties on horseback carrying a flag, and it has to be
a
very
big ass flag.
Thing. It's a flag. It's capture the flag, and 50 Mounties have to win.
It's 50 on 50 or 25 on 25?
No, it's 50 on a 50 on the 20. I don't even know what we have anymore.
I thought you were talking about a sporting event. I'm like, that sounds amazing.
I mean, the musical ride is a sporting event because horseback riding is a sporting event, and it's something my daughter's into big time. But I don't want to go into that because then I'll end up down a rabbit hole full of horses.
Nice.
And if you've ever tried to put a centaur in a rabbit hole, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'll just be watching this video of the musical ride.
You're gonna watch a musical ride? I thought you were gonna look up what a bonspiel was.
I don't have enough safe search on this computer. I might spell it wrong.
I tell you, if you look up bonspiel with the wrong extra add-ons, you're gonna find something you don't want to see.
Yeah, no.
It'll make your hair curl. Literally, figuratively, the whole bit.
So tons of mice over on Twitch offered up this one. It's called Schlurning. When a trucker swats your car off the road, it's the laugh he makes.
Or the crunching.
It is now.
Horn. It's the Coriolis effect on the horn as it gets crunched. Schlurn, and then it's got chung 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 goes to the back axles.
That's right. That's right. I actually had
the sound of a Prius getting crunched up.
Someone did try to do themselves in front of my truck earlier this week, and I don't know how we didn't end up making contact, but I did eventually like cut off 3 of my fingers pulling the horn once I figured out a way not to hit them.
Oh shit!
But safety message of the show. I won't harp on this because otherwise I'll end up down a tangent rabbit hole. No one wants to hear. Just like the horseback riding thing.
Yeah.
Passing a truck should be done when you're fully in front of the truck, not when 6 inches of your vehicle is still beside it. Oh. That's a good tip.
That's not a good idea.
I know they don't teach that in driving school anymore, but that is a good tip. Somebody who's done it.
You should at least have the truck's headlights in your rear view mirror before you even attempt to go over to ensure that there's enough space.
That would be helpful, yeah.
So I looked up. Oh, go ahead, Neil.
I was just gonna say I always give trucks the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even necessarily expect the right of way. I appreciate if somebody gives me room to get something done because sometimes I'm extra long, extra wide, etc. But I most of the problems I have are with people that move without looking, or move assuming that they're more important and that therefore the laws of physics don't apply. And I know Dr. Tap's here somewhere. I think he could
he's here.
School us on Newton. I don't know if he's still here. I know he's got I think he's in a show tonight himself somewhere else.
He's here.
He's here. All right. Well, hi, Dr. Tap.
I digged into the Wikipedia on this United Church of Canada. It says here, the United Church was founded in 1925 as a merger of 4 Protestant denominations with a total combined membership of about 600,000 members. They made a monopoly on Protestants, and you did nothing, Neil. It was 1925. Where were you? You should have been busting up these.
Dude, I wasn't even a horny thought in my father's brain at the time.
I don't think he wasn't alive. That much older than I am, but I know he might have a decade on me, but he's not. He's not back to 25.
A little behind the curtain here. Neil has time travel. He's just very greedy with it.
All right.
He goes and gets Lego pieces that he left, but he won't save the earth. Anyway, it's a whole thing. It says the Methodist Church.
Come pick him up from in front of my feet.
It says the Methodist Church of Canada, the Congregational Union of Ontario and Quebec, 2/3 of the Presbyterians, and the local union churches. So they all became like the Omegatron final Dragon Zord of churches.
Yeah, it was like Voltron of church.
Mm-hmm.
And
the evangelicals were like, and I'll form the head.
Yeah, a great big bishop hat. I don't know if there are bishops in church.
The bishop hat?
But just like a great big bishop head going on would be the way to go. Like from a chess set, though, like with a little light up split in it, like
on the little
that would
angle.
be awesome. I think we have the makings of like the newest iteration of VeggieTales right here.
I'd watch, if they animated the United Church of Canada as Voltron, like modern animation. I'm not saying I would get anything from the messages, but I like to watch that kind of stuff. I'd watch the show.
You would have the toys. You would have the toys in your toy chest, right? Like,
be the sickest.
I mean, that's the important thing. Is that there's lots of swag to buy and play with, right?
It's like fucking Gurren Lagann fucking popes. That's so funny.
Yeah. So that was the church that was sort of like one that I would attend, and my people in my family are of Mennonite origin, but that didn't work out so well, and I won't go into that story because I don't know enough details about it to get into it. I just know that we didn't get to stay, and that was a couple of generations ago.
I saw those people one time in person, and I was like, "Oh, they're real."
Yeah, they are, and I work relatively close to and live close to that neck of the woods where Mennonites are working the land in the traditional way and the horses and buggies and everything. And there are some Amish groups, but it was far more Mennonite local to me, and my Mennonite relatives actually aren't from around here; they're from further west, but. I don't know any of them anymore, but I've been to Steinbach and toured around and seen some of that heritage, and it's interesting. But I would say the Mennonites are a cult, and another cult that I sort of like brushed up against, which is what Neil wants me to talk about, is I worked for a very short time at a place where they were Scientologists or very much using Scientology doctrines to run their business, which was really strange. And I didn't really fully understand that at first, but they had like a lot of HR departments will have this where you take sort of like a little test, and it was like an online test asking you how you would deal with like about 10 situations.
A survey,
and I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is pretty normal, right? They just want to know like a little bit about how you handle things that come up, right? They're hiring a new person, and they're using some sort of those weird tests they do that give you like initials after your personality or something. I can't remember what that's called, but it was that type of stuff.
Just like a personality survey thing.
Something like that, yeah. Like, would you prefer to be in this scenario or this scenario? And would you be, if you came across this scenario where like you find a wallet on the street, what would be the first thing you would do? And
empty the wallet.
Like to call the police or check the ID and see if it's somewhere close by, or that kind of thing. And like, which I mean is pretty. Or would you just take the money and go? Like, yeah, that's it. Myers-Briggs. Fern Lovebond has.
There you go, Fern.
Got it. I see that coming up there. So
Fern's on the board early.
And I later found out that was something from Scientology, and then they gave me a booklet that was really weird. It kind of threw me for a loop, and then I was like, oh, this is. I looked into it. I was like, this is written from that L. Ron Hubbard guy, and I was reading through, and it was really antiquated ideas about people, and some really not. I don't want to say it was entirely misogynistic, but it was definitely very antiquated views of male and female roles. We're really, really old in this thing. I was like, this is, kind of out there. And I read through it, and they're like, you should read this and check this out. And then, so my father got sick, and I was talking to my sister a lot because we were sorting out stuff with his healthcare during COVID and stuff. And at one point, they suggested that maybe I was talking to my sister too much, and she might be a suppressive person who's, sort of bringing bad luck into my life.
Oh,
I was like, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. And luckily for me, the truck that I was using, they didn't have, like, they had more, like, at this point, I'd actually been there for a while. This should have been a red flag too, is that people left before I was there very long. And I was like one of the oldest.
You got one if you need one.
Long employees. What's that red flag for? What is that? Oh, you got a red flag. That is a red flag. Sorry, I thought maybe like China was playing hockey or something.
No.
Not right away. Sorry.
The Olympics. The Olympics is next weekend.
Is it next weekend?
No.
Way. Is it?
No.
Is it? I could not know. I'll tell you about that in a second because I'll tell you why I wouldn't know. But yeah, so I basically started looking into Scientology, but I was also like, I gotta get out of here. And luckily, the truck I was driving broke down, and that gave them an excuse and me an excuse to part ways because I think that was happening anyway. Mm-hmm. It broke down to the point it was going to be off the road for like at least a number of weeks, and they didn't have another truck because they had filled some other trucks, and they could have maybe kicked out somebody else, but at this time you couldn't just go buy another truck and put it on the road. So it was a good chance for me to just get out of there. And I found a great company to work for, and I like what I do there better. So it worked out really well for me, but it was an interesting look into Scientology and some of the decision-making algorithms they use when they talk to people about stuff. And it's
flow chart.
Yeah. Their flow chart way of like figuring out how to handle things was odd. And the things they said were odd. And you know what? Like, I don't bear them any ill will. They're doing with what they're doing. Next week in North Korea. Yeah.
It is February.
Kim got that one right for sure. He won every gold medal. He won.
He's the most
in the male and the female category.
Most supreme athlete.
Supreme.
February 6th, 2026 through February 22nd, 2026.
Okay, so
we got.
Okay, so this is the other thing is so I've sequestered myself from most normal news media because I was just trying to reduce stress. That's why I became a trucker, is to reduce. Because my previous running company, and so I just want to get rid of stress, and I wanted to get rid. And I listen to the news all the time. It makes me upset about everything. And I figure, like, it's not that I don't want to empathize and care with those people that are having these terrible times. It's just when you hear about every terrible time that ever happens, it ends up piling on because if you like, even just living in a city like Toronto where I grew up and lived for a long time, there's stuff happening in the local news, but then, the global news comes on, the world, like the countrywide news comes on. And with like time shifting programs, like news would come on from other cities and I'd be like, holy shit, the whole world's coming to an end. And it really isn't. It's just if you know about what's going on with like 7 to 8 billion people in the world, you're going to hear some sad stories every day. Oh, yeah. And so I decided to get away from that. And I started digging more into a smaller group and finding some community, which I found here. But I also started like how do people get into a cult? How do people get so that they're letting their lives be run by a cult?
You're convinced by somebody.
Yeah. So I realized that in all likelihood, the person that ran that other business would probably got something from them in the way of some sort of community from them to begin with, and then took their tenets and started using them for other parts of his life, which is fine. Not my choice of how I would do things, and I still wouldn't, but it was an interesting view of things. And in looking into Scientology, I then started realizing, well, a lot of major religions are very similarly structured, because really, like he did. Maya's
tossing her panties at you, buddy. That happened to me live once when we were doing a show. Some girl threw her panties up on stage. My mom was at that show.
Your mom or her mom?
My mom was at the show.
Oh, your mom. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll never apologize for expressing myself.
Okay.
Wait.
Hey, you know what? If you got them, throw them. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. My wife may not, but I appreciate it. I get that. I take it for what it's worth. But right. Yeah, I really started looking into why people are drawn to religion and religious doctrine, and in realizing, there's still people in my family that are quite religious and have moved from the church. It was Maya at your show.
Must have been Maya.
Yeah. I think Maya she just she just likes the freedom of going commando, and
she's like the Oprah panties. You get panties. You get panties.
If you don't,
who's to say she didn't have them? They didn't already have them in their purse. You know what I mean? Like you just bring panties to the show in expectation for throwing. Yeah,
I think
these are for throwing. These are for wearing. These are too comfortable to throw.
These are for wearing on your head.
This is for. These are way too cute to throw. This comes in a set. I can't throw these. There's no way.
Actually panties. I just wear them on my head. It's not really a bandana. They're actually panties.
They're all panties.
Yeah,
stitched together to make bandanas. It's very.
I love the concept as a guy. I think all guys have like a little bit of a thought. At least all straight guys sort of want to have the attention of
47
straight ladies. How old is Mikey's baby? 47. Is your baby 47 days, weeks,
47.
months? Just 47.
She's 7 months.
7 months. 7.
She's older than Mikey.
7 months and 40
somehow she's eclipsed me.
Yeah.
I gotta stop living next to this black hole. This time dilation shit is weird. I put her down for a nap.
You gotta be careful.
She's in college when she wakes up.
She came back. She was older than me.
You gotta be careful with those things, man. You could miss everything. You could literally miss everything. But that whole concept makes me laugh because I see a lot of ads. As someone that rides a motorcycle, I see a lot of ads for like novelty motorcycle stuff. And I'm sure nobody takes them seriously, but they have like key tags that say panty dropper. Like with the idea being that because you ride a bike that your bike is dropping panties is like, no man, like there's just other dudes that like your bike. The girls that you're into don't care.
Those men wear panties and they're dropping their panties for
they may like, I mean, like you go into a motorcycle shop. I mean, it's not that no females love motorcycles. There are some that do, but as a percentage, and the ones that do, but and they're probably dropping their panties, and I'm just unaware of it because I'm kind of dense when it comes to stuff like that, and I don't realize.
We don't know if those are in the moment panties or again panties from home.
Just ones they keep or
maybe it's
I don't know. They're just like, hey, there's
a
big hairy dude on a bike, and I gotta say something, and it say it with panties. That's what everyone says, right?
That's what the line is for.
Yeah, I think was that there was a cologne that was that their tagline? Say it with panties.
Yeah, there's always some weirdo misogynistic thing that
there was something super misogynistic in like the early 2000s where women were like basically melting in the streets for a guy with a scent on or something. I don't know.
It might have been Axe.
Might have been.
I don't know.
Or Old Spice when they were trying to before they got the whistling thing.
The whistling, yeah. I remember when Terry Crews would like sort of send up the. He did some Old Spice ads where he was like making fun of like some of the ads and kind of being like super funny, like being topless. He was like Terry Crews would pull up like wearing jean shorts on a white horse at the beach or something.
Yeah.
Like
they gotta
like
like
one of the genre of ad, but yeah, I had this whole flashback this week, and my kids thought I'd lost my noodle to like these old ads from I think they were from the early 80s where they were selling things on television. Like before you could buy stuff on the internet, they sold it on television. Things like the Ginsu knife, right? And they show like here you can cut an iron bar in half with our knife, and then you can cut some tomato. And
you can cut through a tank.
Yeah, look at this. They shoot anti-aircraft ordnance at this tank, and it bounces off. But our Ginsu knife slices through it like it's butter. And then look at we just did that, and now we're dicing a cucumber, and and now this man is shaving with it. Like these knives were like ridiculous, but then there was an ad that was literally like a bald guy would spray black shit on his head and pretend that he had hair again, and there was like the Flowbee
hair in a can,
sort of in Wayne's World, like the vacuum cleaner haircut machine, and
it sure sucks,
and it sure does suck.
Yeah.
But it's
sucking my will to live.
I had flashbacks to all these, and there was like a thing there's a thing where you would wrap yarn around these little nails and then cut it with a pair of scissors and pop it and make like a weird pom-pom thing out of it. And you could like send away for that. And I was just like, I had this flashback to is that my kids are just like, how much TV did you watch? I'm like, you have no idea what it was like in the 80s. We had nothing but TV.
It was all ads, bro. The shows were literally shorter, man, before just so they could give us ads.
Oh, everybody hide. Mark Reed just showed up. Everyone hide.
Oh, did Mark Reed show up? Did Mark Reed show up? Wow.
Yeah,
did Mark come to debate me? I put this thing on so that I wouldn't look too much like Mark, because like if I do this, I look like him from
ringer.
The eyebrows up.
Hey, who let Mark in here?
Did you give him the link on accident, Neil?
I don't know.
Has Mark been on the show? I haven't seen enough of your shows to know, but I've been following.
Mark's been on the show. Yeah, for sure.
Has he been on the show? Okay, I got to go watch that episode then. Find out more about Mark. Because I know Mark.
One of the awesome mods in the chat is definitely going to grab that for you.
It's
perfect.
Basically it's the entire episode is just Mark yelling at Mikey and me. That's pretty much it right there.
Just screaming at us.
just like,
telling you why you're logically inconsistent.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm naturally logically inconsistent, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he had an.
No, Mark's awesome. He's a great guy.
No, he's fantastic. He had a debate last night I had to walk out of because it was breaking my head that the other guy thought the stuff he thought. And I guess I shouldn't.
No.
I shouldn't there before. Yeah.
Hey, y'all are better than me doing those debates. I got video games to play and weed to smoke. Stress management. I can't be in these situations with these flat earthers. And they're like, but density. I'm like, stop.
Oh, the flat earth shit. Oh, God.
The flat earth ones don't bug me that much. Like I just laugh, but I
don't get it.
The ones where they want to tell people how to live their lives are the ones that really weird me out. And and I do know people that think this was for real.
Thanks, Mark.
I stand by me screaming at the host. Yeah, Mark, I stand by his screaming at the host too.
I'll drink to that.
Awesome. Not necessarily here, but like just in general. Just in general, like at MDD, like the guy last night was telling people how to be a man, and I just like if you think being a man means telling people how to live their lives, then you ain't no fucking man. You're not a woman. You're not a man.
Nobody should tell
you're a piece of
anyone
shit.
how to live their lives.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say shit on here, but yeah,
fuck yeah, you can say shit.
That's not manhood. Manhood, personhood.
Nice.
In my opinion, personhood, being a human is about supporting people and valuing them and having a value for the people around you, even if you disagree with them, is important. And some of the religious doctrine and some of the stuff they do to separate people is what worries me the most. And that's like in Scientology, that's very clearly a part of it. And I think like from what I don't want to say studied, because a lot of it I've gotten from watching people share their stories in videos, but because it's not like I went to what is Dr. Tap doing?
He's gifting memberships.
All right. Well, I mean,
he's doing the Oprah.
He's he does that all the time. I don't know. I think he just blasts atoms with lasers all day long so that he can make enough money to gift memberships on YouTube. And, that's because he does.
I'm not complaining.
Hey,
I'm not complaining either. I mean,
fuck those atoms.
He's a great supporter, and he's been on my show more than any other guest.
Those atoms had it coming.
Yeah,
they
did.
Thanks, Dr. Tap. Fuck those atoms.
One day, I'm gonna get him on my show again, and I'm gonna get him to explain to me how he cools down an atom with a laser.
Oh, it's quite simple.
Oh, okay, Mikey, tell us.
Do tell.
You just make a bowl. You just make a bowl, and then you make the walls of the bowl taller, so then all the high energy particles fall out, and then you just get the low energy particles that are the cold ones in a bowl. There you go, and you just make the bowl.
A bowl of atoms.
A bowl out of No, you make the bowl out of lasers.
Oh, you made the bowls made out of lasers.
Yep.
What?
There you go.
That sounds
bowl
good.
Out of lasers, pour the stuff in, and then the high energy stuff will fall out. There you go.
How many lasers do you need to make a bull?
7.
Seven lasers
Whatever.
to make a bull.
Is that the number you said earlier? Or 40?
It goes from 7 to 40.
Is this bull parabolic?
I don't know.
Is it parabolic laser?
Yes.
Because
hey, Spooky.
Anyway, I love the fact that a lot of people, the bull ISX made I just want to say the ISX might be one of the worst things that Cummins ever made to drive a semi truck. That's all I can say. Yeah, the ISX, no thank you. No thank you. For all the truckers in the chat, I know you're there. What if it's a dipole trap? 6 of it's magneto-optical trap. I
told you I wasn't wrong. It is how you do it.
Yeah.
I just said it like a moron.
Yeah. because you literally thought there was a cereal bowl involved. No.
This is an act. I'm really
smart. I want cereal.
No, I you know what? A lot of smart people hang out here, and Mikey's definitely one of them. I don't know how to make a bowl out of lasers.
That's what he does.
All of y'all, these guys up here,
they do math stuff and they trick the stuff into thinking it's in a bowl. It's weird. They're wizards, Harry. They're wizards. You shouldn't be able to do that stuff.
I love science stuff, and I think that so in looking into Scientology, having me look into a whole bunch of other cults and a whole bunch of other religions, and I realized there's a lot of people selling a lot of bullshit. And then I get to people who are like, well, you can't deny the Kalam, and I'm like, well, I sure as fuck can.
Yes, you fucking can.
But even if I couldn't, tell me this, educated theist. This great deity that you worship made the entire universe out of like fucking fart dust or something.
No, he spoke.
And they forgot to put American cash in their own fucking wallet, and we now have to send it to them. What the fuck, man? Explain that to me.
Yeah, how does God create? I don't understand how God created the universe turns into you need 10% of my check. Run that story one more time, because I don't get where him creating everything means you're entitled to 10% of my shit. Like, excuse me?
I tell you what, when the preachers start giving away everything they got, I'll listen one more time. I still won't believe
Jesus
them, but I'll listen
to do
one more time.
I will give it a real earnest, polished try. If they come to me as like, look, this is my empty 1-bedroom apartment, and there's a mattress on the floor, and I eat saltines and water all day. I believe you. Now let's have a conversation.
Let's have a chat.
Got the bands.
When this Olstein guy comes flying up in his jet,
Mercedes,
his jet, not
his jet. No, I mean it's God's jet. It's God's jet.
The Lord's pilot.
If the Lord wanted him to have a jet, he would have given him one.
Yeah.
Why didn't he evolve with a jet engine? Why wasn't he created with a jet engine? If he needed to televangelize all over the world, he should have telekinetic powers. God should have given it to him.
That Rocket Man guy from the 50s or whatever that had the. Or am I thinking of Astro Boy?
Knows how to make
Astro Boy had the jetpacks in his boots.
Yes.
Yeah. That. If God wanted preachers to fly, he would have made them into Astro Boy leg people,
or at least given us wings.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened to Icarus.
You need all your chicks.
At least Icarus had like a plan, right?
He had a plan. It
wasn't a good one.
He didn't have plan B, but he had plan A.
I don't know if Icarus like is that believable of a story, but it's slightly like the idea that someone could make wings out of feathers and wax and fly to the sun is slightly more believable than that an all-powerful deity needs my fucking cash.
Like, just go ahead and hit the QR code and hit that Cash App for Jesus. Like, what are you talking about? What is that?
I don't know why I have trouble understanding where they're coming from, but I do. And I don't understand why they need money. I understand understand why preachers need money, because they've got a lot of bullshit to sell, and bullshit isn't easy to sell unless you've got a lot of people convinced, and convincing people requires a platform. And when I see people like
no, not at all.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Because I guess like in this case, it kind of almost did on mine. That's a really good question, Doctor. And a good question for all people to ask, because I honestly, when I was in my previous life, I don't think I would have engaged in a whole lot of conversation, because I wouldn't have wanted to cut out avenues of business opportunities, right? Like, I don't think anybody cares what I think as long as I can move stuff carefully down the road, right? Like, I don't think my employer cares what my religious leanings are, and my current employer, and I don't think any of their clients care either. Is if their stuff gets safely delivered and I look after it, that's what they care about. Whether I did that because I think God will punish me if I don't, or because I just think it's the responsible way to do my job and I care about my fellow people, and keeping them safe when I'm moving stuff around. I think, like, either way, I'm going to do the best job I can to do my job, and my profession is pretty straightforward. But I when you're in certain types of jobs, like politicians aren't allowed to not be religious in the US, right, in many cases, or haven't been, and they certainly, there's a lot of terrible things said, and that was one of the things that made me move.
They're not allowed, by the way. It's just that if you're not religious, you're probably not going to get elected.
Well, so it's kind of a de facto thing. Yeah, it's not technically on the books illegal, although I think it has been in some places that you weren't allowed to not have a religion. Like atheist wasn't an option in some places. And I think, that's a good distinction to make, but before I stopped paying any attention to the news, the American political news was really difficult to watch. And when I saw people coming down on I'm probably going to missay her name because I've been so removed from it, but I want to say their name is something like Ilhan
Omar.
Ilhan Omar. And I believe that person is in U.S. politics, or was in U.S. politics, and was Muslim of descent, or and a lot of people were talking about that as being a reason not to trust them.
Mm-hmm.
That's of course.
That if your religious leanings are being used for you on one side and against you on the other side, and that's influencing your politics, when your job is to actually run your country properly, and what you do in your private religious life is somehow seen as a major factor, then that country is kind of messed up. And I don't think ours is. I think ours might look like it's not, but I think there's a lot of pockets of this country that are influenced by the exact same type of thinking, and I see and hear a lot of it in my day-to-day goings on when I interact with people.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really an overly religious country here in Canada. We're far more secular than a lot of places, but and I don't think there's a requirement to be religious in any way to become a member of parliament here. I don't think they require that.
No, I don't think here. I don't think here there is, at least not now. Yeah.
Well, there may have been. Yeah, you're right. Probably up until like the 50s or maybe 60s. But after that, people have been prime ministers here that aren't religious at all. So
absolutely, yeah.
Right. So it's not really an issue here, but we do have some in the now that do follow religious beliefs pretty closely, and those are the ones that we are trying to not get elected up here.
Yeah,
because they're fucking psychotic. So
no, and not only are they psychotic, they don't want to interact with. They don't want to interact with people in a fair and level-headed and logical way. They want their way to be the way, and they don't care who it hurts because they've already decided their way is perfect. And
exactly.
I can circular logic my way back into being perfect, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
I'll just keep rotating.
Is great in religion.
They'll just keep rolling it back into some other lie that they told, and roll that into another lie they told. So you just have to just disarm them all day long.
Ron Popeil. Mr. Pope.
Oh yeah, and sure. That, you know what? I remember Ronco, and Ronco had the food dehydrator too, right? And the
pocket fisherman,
really upbeat woman showing you how to cook with it and how to like. And they had, I think they also had like a blender, like a stick blender that they sold as well.
The Showtime rotisserie oven is still my personal favorite because you can
that's
set it and forget it.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Helen Hunt did a great send up of it when she was on SNL, I'm pretty sure, and did like a whole skit where she like freaked out about a frying pan, and she's like, that was pretty funny. I still remember that. I don't remember a lot, but that particular Helen Hunt one where she's freaking out because if you put an egg on a hot frying pan, it cooks. that was fantastic.
If you go to YouTube and look up a Weird Al Yankovic song about Ron Popeil, it talks about all the stuff that he made. And scramble an egg while it's still inside its shell. Handy dandy tree debarker, that kind of thing, right? Like, so it makes all this fun of this stuff out. Yeah, it's funny. It's the Popeil song.
I'll be
not sure what it's called, but it's there and it's funny.
Yeah, awesome. I
saw him here a long time ago.
You saw the Ronco guy? Oh, Weird Al. Weird Al. Okay. Yeah, Weird Al like kind of broke onto the scene big time when I was a kid. Yeah. And I remember watching, he had a movie, was it called UHF or something?
Yeah, so funny. So funny. Yeah.
I remember renting that with my cousins and watching it. And
Wheel of Fish.
Yeah, it was and he had like, and his videos got like a reasonable amount of play on Much Music, which is for American people, that's like that was what MTV was based on. Yeah, we invented it in Canada, and then the US stole it, screwed it up. But
is that true? I think MTV was before Much Music.
I don't know. You can look it up.
Don't worry about it. There's no music on MTV anymore, so we couldn't copy for long.
Had much more music, and they actually did play music on Much Music for a long time.
Ours just
I actually don't know which one came first. I vaguely remember that Canada led the way in one of those things, but maybe I'm wrong about the Much Music thing. I don't want to I'm not going to die on this hill unless somebody knows that it's true.
It might have been. Like I said, they started immediately ruining it. Like there was music videos, and then there was a bunch of reality shows, and then it was all reality shows and no music. Like, as soon as like my band started getting cool, like Slipknot started having music videos and stuff like that, and like all the Disturbed and all that, and then it just went to TRL and like reality TV, and I was like, oh, yeah, well, that was fun.
Well, they had to do something a little bit. I think there's been a lot of cool ideas that came and went on television, and then I haven't watched regular television in a long time. Neil, please go.
Okay, so Chum Limited, which is a group up here in Canada, launched the Canadian music channel Much Music in 1984. It was inspired by the success of MTV in the United States, which launched 2 years prior.
So MTV came first. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Moses Neimer did it better.
Yeah, ours was trash.
I wish Much Music was really good at first, like the first 10 years of it or so, and then after that, it just started going off the rails.
I think all those things, they either evolve into something new, or their old thing just doesn't work because things just don't work forever.
A lot of bands don't make videos anymore, so
no.
Yeah, I think
most of it's live stuff.
Watching live better than even a video of a live is better than a put together production.
I would always like those videos that was just like a straight up concert footage, just shot from a couple of different cities, and they just kind of mix it all together. That's all you need.
Yeah, because it's about the music. I think. Yeah. I'm opinionated about a lot of stuff. That's one of them.
Are we all? I think back talking about Weird Al again, I think what really broke him wide open, because I'd heard of him before this came out, but only because of a song called Yoda, which was done to the tune of Lola, which I thought was really funny. But when he did Eat It instead of Beat It, that broke him
that was big.
Michael Jackson that made him huge, right? So Eat it, eat it, eat it. Don't you make me repeat it.
I remember that video. I think that video was almost better than the Michael Jackson video. Like
oh, it's funny.
See, this is why. Anyways, God and such better than Michael Jackson. This is a fucking blasphemy I have to deal with. It's Weird Al plague that is still in this country.
I'm not saying that Weird Al was a better musician than Michael Jackson. I'm saying that the Beat It video's production quality wasn't as good as
dare you.
I'm daring.
How dare you?
I was a big Michael Jackson fan in the mid 80s. In the early,
I got to see him live on the Victory tour they did with his brothers.
Damn. Oh, cool! I never got to see him live. I got to see Johnny Cash live in '85.
Still one of the best shows I've ever seen. And I was not a Michael Jackson fan at the time. I just took my little cousins because my other cousin couldn't take them, so I had to go. I'm like, God damn it, I got to go sit through it. And I enjoyed it. It was really cool. He had a giant spider made out of lights on stage and shit like that. It was great.
I was definitely going to empty my bank account for the This Is It tour. Empty.
Well, some people have had a major influence by being extremely talented and having a way to bring it to people.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, he did Like a Surgeon, too, instead of Like a Virgin. I remember that. Like a Surgeon.
Oh,
cutting
wow.
For the very first time.
I also remember, and I had a cousin that loved Weird Al more than anything, and she always thought it was hilarious. He had a song where one of the lines was about how badly he didn't want to spend any more time with his ex, and one of the lines was, "I'd rather spend eternity eating shards of broken glass than to spend one more minute with you." And I don't remember what the song was called, but I remember that line from the song, and I've met a few people that have inspired me to say that again to myself.
Yeah, that sounds super familiar.
I just don't remember what it was called, and I don't think it was a spoof so much as maybe it was like an original or maybe inspired by something, but I don't think it followed the pattern of some of those other songs that were just changing the words of a familiar tune. I don't know how you find out stuff like that.
Yeah, Mark, the movie was called UHF.
UHF is right. That's what the movie was called.
UHF is the name of the movie.
Wow.
I love how he gives that old guy a nickel or something, or a penny or something like that. He gives it, and it turns out to be a super rare one and makes the old guy super rich. So he comes back and ends up paying for the station so that he can keep the station. It's great. Oh, that's big spoiler. Never mind.
The name of the song is One More Minute.
One More Minute.
Oh, there you go. So there actually is a thing.
Yeah, it's lyrics from that song.
Okay.
I don't know about that one.
That needs some work. Yeah, there's a band called the Cleverleys that does like bluegrass type versions of many songs, and they actually do Milkshake with a bluegrass thing. And I
those guys do like Metallica and all kinds of stuff too.
Oh yeah, they do some of everything. They do Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bengals, and it's really hilarious. They the Cleverleys they're a really interesting sort of a setup, and I generally like the bluegrass sound. I like a lot of different genres of music.
Pretty cool.
And bands like that are really cool. And there's also a guy called it's not a guy. There's a band. I think it's Steve and Seagulls. I think they're called, and they do a lot of really great Steve and Seagulls, and they do like bluegrass type inspired versions of classic music that we know. Like I know they do like an AC/DC tune, but I think they do a few others, and I'm pretty sure they're called Steve and Seagulls. And I don't know if Seagulls is the name of the band, or if the band is Steve and Seagulls, but they're good.
Yes, I've heard them before, and I've heard that Thunderstruck one too.
So I'm not getting it totally wrong.
No.
All right, awesome.
Also, check out Bardcore, which is old bard music from like way back in the day, and they'll do modern day versions of like pumped up kicks or something, but instead of that, it's like pump all the Bonnie lads with their pumped up boots. better run faster than thine arrow.
Wow.
So
that's great.
It's really good.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's cool. We need more neat stuff out there. And I find that this has always happened. Everyone complains about the new music that's out there when it's, not from their generation. And I don't want to do that too much, but I find that young people are often taken in really wholly by what goes on around them in the pop music culture, and then they miss out on some of the good stuff. And I definitely had some of that happen to me, but I also was privileged enough to be introduced to a bunch of different types of music by my father and some other people around me. I think I had some aunts and uncles that were really into music that would play different stuff for me and introduce me to things at a young age. And at this point in my life, I like some of everything, but I also realize that some of the garbage music that's out there that's just popular and just throw away, and it's popular for 3 weeks and it goes away. Some of it's really good and gets forgotten, and some of it is just kind of garbage. And the truly lasting stuff, the stuff that tells a real story, whether it's doing it in one genre or another, is there's a lot of depth to it, and it comes back and stands the test of time for a long time. And that's something I like to come back to stuff and listen again and hear the great messages that are in things that people have thought. And it makes me realize that, the stuff I talk about today and think about today isn't new. People have been fighting these fights for millennia, and that's never going to change. Right?
Absolutely. You know what? I think, is there anything else you wanted to bring up religion-wise, like anything that almost got you or anything like that? Or should we just wrap this up and jump into the after?
You know what? I'm gonna bring up two things really quickly. And because I know you got to keep your show on the rails here. One is that when I was a really young kid, I thought maybe I was supposed to pray to God and Jesus and stuff. And I thought about that, and I thought about trying to do it, and I just couldn't figure out who I was talking to other than just an empty room or myself.
What tense do I use?
Yeah. And so I really couldn't figure out that stuff. And so even though people are talking about it around me, and obviously, and there's people in my family still think that's the way to go. I wish them well in that. I don't think it's true. And I'm glad that they don't spend a lot of time telling me I'm going to hell. And if I am going to hell, man, all the coolest people will be there. I love all the people I've met that are going to hell because they're awesome. And I'd rather spend time with them than some of these other fire and brimstone chanting people. So there's that. And then the other thing I want to say quickly is that what I've learned in this whole journey, and I've met so many people that have met a world that lacks empathy for them, and it's something that I'm trying to push back against hard in what the work that I do that is not related to religion. It's related to trying to get good acceptance of people, and I happen to work in the people living with obesity sphere, and that's what my passion is, because it's something I deal with. But I've met so many great people that have so many things working against them that they're bothered by it. It affects them. It's a real effect. It causes real emotional and mental distress for them every day of the week. But they're still fighting, and they're meeting. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that, despite the fact that I got here in a weird way, that the people that are fighting against misinformation, whether it be in religious-based doctrine, or whether it be flat earth, or whether it be just any sort of nonsense people believe, I think Dr. Tapp and Mark are going to go try to figure out why a guy thinks heart-shaped rocks are freaking organs. I want to see that. I mean, I want to hang out with you guys. I'm going to watch.
The heart isn't even heart-shaped.
I don't even know. I hope I'm invited to the after show, because we should talk about the concept. And then anybody that's staying around for this should try to figure out what the fuck this guy's smoking, because it is some good shit.
This is true.
But yeah, I know that's right. Neil twirls them around like a major. Yes, the rails. You know what? And I work with a lot of rail construction equipment, and that is
where's my batons?
Yeah, and an 80-foot rail ain't no fucking joke. I can tell you that.
Okay, it's not a
hey,
baton.
Look at you. I bet you're fun in a Chinese restaurant too. You do that like while you eat your food.
My hair.
Oh, you got your hair caught in it.
Yeah, well,
I don't have that problem.
That's because it's got this on it. So my little back scratcher. So
that's handy.
It is pocket size.
If there'd been a sixth Ninja Turtle, they would have had that back scratcher.
A sixth? Oh yeah, they did the girl one too. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
she came later.
All right. Well, that's not the way to do it, guys. She always comes first.
Yeah. Make sure that happens. All right.
That's right. Make sure that happens.
It's Saturdays. Sorry, Thursday show I would have taken care of it, but it's Saturday.
All right.
We're relaxed. We're in the chill zone.
I've never done it, so I don't even want to even talk about it. Anywho.
All right. I can't believe North Korea's been here the whole damn time.
Right? The whole country.
Kim's a big fan.
Big fan of the show.
Big fan.
All of the Kims. The Kims that are here now and the Kims yet to come.
He thinks everyone should worship him. So.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm lost now.
I just keep starting when I should stop.
We got a little bit of.
Are we done here?
Lag.
Are we done here?
Yeah, because you're both in different
time
zones.
Can I go now?
Neil, stop trying to be funny. He can't understand.
I hear my mom calling.
He's actually having audio issues. So you keep fucking with him. Oh, Neil.
Anywho. Al, man, great to have you on the show, dude. I know we didn't really cover a lot of religious stuff, but some of the stories you had about working with people that were involved in some nutty culture type shit was pretty amusing as hell.
Yeah, no, it was a trip to find out about it and to get out of it and to kind of find out about the whole spiel. It was weird. And anybody that hasn't, just go Google some. Like don't Google what I've done. Like my stuff is it's a tiny slice of a very big pie. But there's some cool stuff.
Blue waffle either.
Yeah, I don't know why, but don't do that either. I don't know what religion that is, but I bet it's cool.
No. Yeah. No, yeah. So there's some Canadian.
That's right, eh? So we're gonna fire up the Coleman for the after party, I think, eh? And get get some bacon on there and
slap down.
Keep your ham, please.
That's I think you're confused about the difference between side bacon and back bacon.
That's right.
Your ham steaks can be kept. Keep them in your underground frozen lager or whatever you guys have.
Okay, but we gotta ask
Mark Caesar.
Is it cornmeal or pea meal?
And share.
Lick and share, yes.
You heard him. You heard him.
Like even. I remember Lick-a-Mix, which was like sugar powder.
Lick-a-Mix. Lick
was spelled L-I-K, and you had a stick made of sugar, and you stuck it in a bag of sugar, and you licked it, and then you shoved it in again. It was like the double dip on purpose. It was so weird.
It only came with 2 flavors at first, and there was a little pouch about yay big, and then they added like 4 different more flavors, and so you could get like lime, and grape, and orange, and cherry.
I think that was just Redpath trying to make money by putting, food dye in their sugar.
Maybe. I do know that you could take the powder from the packets, pour it in a glass, pour water in, and it was like an instant Kool-Aid thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it would have been because it was basically like eating Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
that's probably how it was invented. They probably just snipped off a Kool-Aid and stuck a stick in it.
Maybe. Anyway, lick and describe.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how to describe any of this shit.
Teton Uranus. Apparently, I was the first person to actually say his name live on YouTube. Was me, like with Titan Uranus.
Oh, Titan Uranus, yeah. Titan Uranus has like one of the best names on the tube.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, let's wrap this up and get into an after party. Thanks out there in the chat and over on Twitch and YouTube here. Well, we're on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so I guess both of them are here, so to speak. But we're going to do an after party. If you'd like to be involved, just let us know, and we'll get you a link. There's ways to do so in the description box below. If you like the music that you hear at the beginning of all these songs, or all these shows, then you can check out the description box. Has Mikey and mine's link for the tunes that we make. Also, all the guests links are in the description box. I only have, I think, your X link in there.
I have a YouTube channel.
So get that to Mikey and he'll add it to it.
I got to figure out how to get that to him. I guess I'd have to know what my YouTube channel.
Drop a link into Twitter or whatever.
What's your channel name? I'll find it.
It's Al Trucker. I
didn't know about that.
I don't. Yeah, I do have it. I'm trying to look it up. My handle is at Al Trucker 18.
I'm done.
Okay,
there you go.
That's awesome. So yeah, so I have that, and I do weird shit on there, but it's nothing. It's nothing too weird. Yesterday, I went on a 2-hour rant about how some people are really out there. And somebody can take that and go on a 3-hour rant about how out there I am. And I'll do a response video. Maybe.
All right. Thanks to all our patrons, our Pembers and matrons.
Yes.
Patrons and members.
Patron.
If you want to help support the show, you can be either one of those, and there are ways to do so in the description box below. And until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the evening, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time. Put it.
Bye.
What's untangled?